everyone, welcome back to Marketing Ninja Unleashed. If you're new here, I'm Rena, founder of You and Your Story, and this podcast is all about helping you build a brand that connects, grows, and actually lasts. Today's episode feels like one of those back to basics conversations, the kind that might sound simple on the surface, but when you really sit with it, you realize it changes everything. We're going to talk about three big things today, starting with your target audience, and why getting that wrong quietly damages your growth. Then I want to talk about why jumping on every social media trend isn't always the smartest move. And finally, the foundations of a solid brand, and why the best brands always start with a story. So, whether you're driving, walking, hiding from emails for 5 minutes, let's get into it. So, your target audience. This is the bit that people tend to rush, and I say this all the time. If you don't know who you're talking to, your marketing will always feel harder than it needs to. Your target audience isn't just small business owners or people aged 25 to 55 or anyone who needs my service. That's not an audience, that's everyone. And when you talk to everyone, you connect with nobody. Knowing your audience means understanding how they think, what they worry about, what frustrates them, what language they use, what they value, and how they make decisions. And tone of voice matters so much more than people realize. I've seen brands completely damage all their trust just because their tone didn't match the moment. There was that example of a certain cheeky budget airline responding to customer complaints with sarcastic humor. It might have felt on brand to them, but to customers who were stranded at airports, it felt dismissive and arrogant. The tone didn't match the emotional state of the audience, and they instantly lost their trust in just one moment. And once the trust cracks, it's really hard to rebuild. Let's take some real-life examples. If you're a solicitor dealing with wills and probate, your tone of voice cannot feel flippant or salesy. If you're a luxury brand shouting about discounts every 5 minutes, this will dilute your positioning. If you're targeting corporate decision makers, memes and slang might actually land very differently than you expect. Finding your audience isn't overly complicated though. It does require some effort. Here's a little reminder from my first ever episode about how you can find your actual audience. And this isn't just general advice. You'll need to answer all of these questions to truly figure out who your audience is. So let's start with a spreadsheet or a list. I love a good spreadsheet. I want you to list out all of your current customers with what they bought, what they spent, how often they return. This will help you work out the type of customer that is the most profitable and loyal. Next, you want to pick the best customers from that list and work out their demographics. Using that info, do some research into hobbies, the magazines, newsletters that they read. Where do they like to hang out? Are they typically glued to Instagram, TikTok? Do they visit gyms a lot? Or community centres, doctor surgeries? Then, I want you to write down their frustrations. What bothers them and stresses them out? Once you've got all of this information, figure out how your product or service solves their problems and tailor your messaging to be focused on your ideal audience. One other thing that you can do is talk to your existing customers, and this will help you understand them in a way that will be really helpful. Take notice of the language that they're using in emails and reviews. Pay attention to the questions they're asking before they buy, and then use this information to speak their language, not your industry's language, not what sounds impressive, their language. Because when somebody reads your content and thinks, that's exactly how I feel, you've done your job. I hope this helps you work out who your ideal customers actually are and how to talk to them properly. But as always, if you need a hand, you know exactly where we are.
Buying a car can feel like guesswork. Is it really the right price, or should you wait? With Car Gurus, you get unbiased deal ratings, price change history, and trusted dealer reviews, so you can spot a great deal and buy with confidence. Go to cargurus.co.uk for complete vehicle details without any surprises. That's cargurus.co.uk. cargurus.co.uk. Car Gurus. Search, buy, sell, sorted.
Now, let's talk about trends. I know it's tempting. A reel goes viral, a format blows up, everyone is posting the same thing. And you think, maybe we should do that too. Sometimes, yes, trends can be useful. They can give you reach, they can show your personality. But the problem is, if you're constantly reacting to trends, you're not leading your brand. You're following everybody else's. And over time, that will create confusion. Your brand should feel consistent, recognizable, and grounded. So when you jump on every trend, you risk sounding like different businesses every single week. And sadly, I see this a lot. A serious financial services company suddenly doing trending dances, a premium brand using slang that doesn't fit, a law firm trying to be comedic in a way that undermines credibility. It's not that trends are bad, it's that they must pass one filter. Does this align with our brand strategy? If the answer is no, just let it go. Visibility without clarity doesn't build a brand. It builds noise, and noise doesn't convert. Now I want to talk about the foundations of a solid brand. The foundations of a solid brand are clarity, consistency, story. Brand foundations start with knowing who are we? Who are we for? What do we believe? Why do we exist beyond making money? And this is where story becomes incredibly powerful. The strongest brands aren't built on products, they're built on a meaning. Have a think about businesses that feel memorable to you. There's usually a story behind them, a founder who started because they experienced a problem themselves, a family business passed down through the generations, a company built around a mission to change something. Story gives context to what you sell. It gives emotional depth to your strategy. And when your story is aligned with your audience's needs, something clicks. That's when brand building becomes long-term rather than transactional. It's definitely not about shouting louder. It's about resonating on a deeper level. If you're looking for some clarity and want a solid brand strategy in place, it's never too late. Get in touch. It's important to grow with good foundations in place. And we've worked with startups as well as businesses over 100 years old to create their brand strategy, work out their purpose, vision, and mission, and the communication threads that will tie everything together through marketing. We're here to help you save time and effort when it comes to your brand strategy. We're almost at the end of today's episode, so if we connect today's dots, your target audience determines how you speak. Your brand strategy determines whether you follow trends or ignore them. Your story determines whether people remember you. All three have to work together. No matter what anyone says, you cannot build a strong brand if you're unclear on who you're for. You can't build trust if your tone doesn't match your audience. And you can't create longevity if you're constantly reacting instead of leading. I've said this time and time again. Marketing isn't about being everywhere. It's about being understood by the right people. If you take one thing away from today, let it be this. Stop asking, how do I get more visibility? Start asking, am I clear on who I'm building this for? We know that clarity builds connection. Connection builds trust, and trust is what builds sustainable growth. Thank you as always for listening. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need a reminder that strategy beats trends every time. And as always, you and your story is here to make sure your story is the one the world won't forget.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.